I'ma start off this video by thanking everyone once again. Since I released my Dead Space video, my 30 days platinum video has blown up for some reason. I had never expected it to get so much attention. The reception has been all positive and I truly appreciate it. It's insane. Now for the people watching this video, I just want to ask you to subscribe, like, and comment if you're more keen to see content surrounding multiple games, or if you're more interested in me covering single games like I'm doing here. With that out of the way, let's delve into this video. Welcome to Hogwarts Legacy. It was released the 10th of February 2023 and is developed by Avalanche Software. The game is an open world RPG taking place in the magical world of Harry Potter. I'll be honest right off the bat and tell you guys that I had zero expectations for this game. Before it was released, I was looking at Avalanche's rap sheet of previous games and thought they wouldn't be able to pull it off with everything they had promised. Boy, was I wrong. So wrong. I'll delve deeper into the game when we get to the review section. But for now, let's have a look at the road to platinum. The game has 46 trophies, which consist of 28 bronze, 13 silver, 1 gold, and the platinum trophy. Since this is an open world game, all of the trophies can be picked up even after completing the game. And thank God for that, considering this game has around 1,257 collectibles scattered across the open world, main quests and side quests. But we'll get to that. First off, we need to play through the main story while exploring the open world as much as possible. Personally, I took my sweet time completing the main story. I had so much fun just exploring everything the world has to offer. The game rewards us with trophies for reaching certain points in the story. First trophy is for reaching Hogwarts and being a part of the sorting ceremony, followed by us attending our first class. We then make our way to Hogsmeade to pick up a few items needed for school. While in Hogsmeade, we're rather rudely interrupted by an angry Protestant against wizard kind, wielding a giant club. Although he doesn't pose a giant threat against our magical powers. After defeating him, we earn a trophy for surviving the troll attack. Soon after, we complete some tasks for our Professor Fig and explore an antechamber. While exploring the chamber, we get a trophy for using ancient magic for the first time. After this, we find a book showing us towards a hidden map chamber. Finding the chamber earns us a trophy for getting there while being in Gryffindor and using our first 5 talent points. While exploring the world, we come across our first clutter of butterflies. Following them leads us towards a hidden chest and earns us a trophy for doing so.
Well.
After making our way through some more main quests, we return to the map chamber and are greeted by Charles Rookwood. Afterwards, we begin focusing a lot more on exploring the world. For this, we get a trophy for reaching the Poitsia coast, finding all demiguise statues, which unlocks Alohomora level 3, upgrading a piece of gear, stunning 10 enemies with a mandrake, upgrading a piece of gear to max level, saving a dragon,
Be careful, won't you?
learning all spells,
Can we meet at the 3 broomstick?
completing all tiers of a challenge, beating Imelda's time in all broom races,
You take care of it.
and reaching the highest point in the castle. We then finally move on to one of my favorite moments of the entire game. If you want to avoid spoilers, then go to the timestamp below to skip past this part, as I will be talking about a quest taking part in the last third of the game. All gone? Great. So, playing through the story, we're required to complete 4 different trials from each of the keepers. One of these trials is from Niamh Fitzgerald. First off, we need to make our way to the Grandmaster's quarters to find Niamh's book. Once we reach the book, we're teleported into a different world. And the art style they use for this world is beyond amazing. It looks like a comic book without any colors. A white backdrop with black lines which helps to outline the world and objects within it. And if that wasn't cool enough, the game then proceeds to let you use the 3 fucking Deathly Hallows. I swear to you, my jaw was on the floor. I was in awe about the way they designed this entire quest. It's simply just amazing. After wielding the Deathly Hallows, we receive a trophy for doing so. We then return to some exploration and breeding/farming in the room of requirement. In this time, we earned trophies for doing the following: growing every type of plant, brewing every type of potion, rescuing a phoenix, defeating 50 enemies using Petrificus Totalis, and reaching a combo of 100. Going back to the story, we get a trophy for viewing all Pensieve memories, subduing the Lord of the Shore, also known as a Grabhorn, breeding every type of beast, and finally for beating the final boss, which I won't spoil. Now, it was time to clean up the last trophies. First off, we get 3 trophies for completing each of the relationship quest lines. One for Poppy, one for Sebastian, and one for Natsai.
Thank you for coming to visit me.
We then complete the most excruciating task of playing through the same 2 hours of gameplay with the 3 remaining houses. We need to progress until we reach the map chamber with every house. This earns us 3 trophies for each of the houses. Before committing to the grind of all collectibles, we first off flip a cow 10 times using Flipendo for a trophy. We then used Ancient Magic on every enemy in the game. And finally, we wound up winning the House Cup. Now came the biggest grind of them all. It was time to get almost every collectible in the game. Hogwarts Legacy has a menu called Collections, which covers stuff like outfits, broomsticks, wand handles, traits, etc. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the game has around 1,257 collectibles. However, we only need to pick up 619 of them to fill out the collections tab and earn a trophy. Besides this, we also need to complete every side quest, Merlin trial, find all Flue Flames, and discover all Cairn dungeons. All of these things complement each other though, seeing as how many of the collectibles are earned from challenges, which covers the aforementioned stuff. The grind isn't as bad as it could be, but it is still really bad. We start out by clearing the map of all the different markers. The map is divided into smaller sections, which each has a number of collectibles which contributes to the overall numbers. As you can see on the right side, there are a lot of map markers to be completed. I won't delve into specific details surrounding this cleanup stage. Otherwise, the video would end up taking as long as watching every Harry Potter movie. And speaking of the movies, just to put things into perspective, while doing this, I was always watching something on my second monitor. I managed to watch 6 of the Harry Potter movies while collecting everything. But after doing everything, we were rewarded with the following trophies: defeating enemies in all battle arenas, discovering all Cairn dungeons, unlocking all Flue Flames, completing all Merlin trials, completing all side quests, reaching level 40, spending all talent points,
Your field guide.
completing all collections, and finally, the Platinum Trophy.
Thank you for your patronage.
The Platinum Trophy isn't hard to get at all, it just requires a lot of your time. For this, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 in difficulty. Only for the sheer amount of hours you need to put into the game to 100% it. In the end, it took me around 40 hours of in-game time to get the Platinum. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this game really caught me by surprise. I thought it was gonna be a flop with all the promises made from the developers, but I was so pleasantly surprised. I won't delve into all the conspiracies surrounding the game, I'll purely talk about my experience. So keep in mind that this review only reflects my opinion about the game. It's not a final judgment, and you may find people who disagree with what I'm about to say. Hogwarts Legacy takes place 100 years before the events of Harry Potter. The story for the game is fairly straightforward. You're playing as a new student joining Hogwarts as a 5th year. You've been training with your Professor Fig, learning all the requirements for a 5th year student, but as soon as you take off in the carriage, things go horribly wrong and we start to understand the main strokes of the story. Somehow, we have the ability to see something called Ancient Magic. We learn that we're not the first ones inhabiting this ability, and there was in fact an old wizard from long ago who possessed the same ability. In correlation with 3 other professors from his time, they took on the name of Keepers. The Keepers worked together to create a longer section of trials for someone with this ability to prove their worth. This basically tells the overarching story of the game. But while the story might not be totally groundbreaking, Avalanche Software has managed to build a world that really encapsulates the magic of the Harry Potter universe. Their attention to detail is impeccable. One of my favorite moments is actually in the beginning of the game when you fly in the carriage. First off, I thought the game was bugged, seeing as how nothing was pulling the carriage. But soon after taking off, you get attacked by a dragon and see George getting ripped away. This results in our character being able to see the Thestrals leading the carriage, since they are only visible to people who witness death. The side quests in the game are a mixed bag. Some of them are typical fetch quests, go here, pick up this item or kill this enemy, and then return to the quest giver. However, there's also some really cool and interesting side quests. Now, if you don't want spoilers for a side quest, then skip to the timecode below. While exploring Hogsmeade, we stumble across a house elf called Penny standing in front of a closed down store. We complete some stuff for her and end up buying the store. We're then tasked with going into the basement, which suddenly turns into a quest of horror. Apparently, a ghost lived inside the basement and he now pushes us into completing different trials he came up with. There are some seriously creepy moments during this quest. For example, the classic setup of mannequins moving by themselves while we are not looking. To be honest, I could go on about this quest, but the point is that some side quests feel even better designed than main quests, but there's also some side quests which are just quick fetch quests. As a child, I grew up watching the movies and dreamt of a game reflecting what was seen in the movies. And finally, we have that game. Exploring Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, the Forbidden Forest, etc. Everything we were introduced to in the books/movies has finally come to life and is freely explorable. I was also excited to see some of the characters having direct relations to characters from the Harry Potter time. While many people might look at the map in Hogwarts Legacy as another Ubisoft clone, I disagree. I do see why people think this though. The game is filled to the brim with map markers like bandit camps, Merlin trials, etc. copy-pasted everywhere. But I found a certain enjoyment exploring the map, although having to complete everything for 100% was tiresome. The gameplay can only be described as a child of Devil May Cry, Soulsborne, fitted in with some magic dust from Assassin's Creed. The combat in the game takes heavy inspiration from hack and slash games, seeing as how you can juggle enemies, keeping them airborne for multiple seconds at a time. Fully mastering all the spells and combinations you can do just enhances the game. As you progress through the story, you gain access to more and more spells, which can be used in combat scenarios. It's also possible to spend talent points to open up more spell pages, which allows you to use almost every spell available in the game. The puzzles aren't too advanced. Most of them just require you to move around some blocks or boxes, opening up new sections of a dungeon or castle. Even after completing 4 or 5 puzzles, they already became a bit repetitive. I don't expect developers to make 40 different types of puzzles, but I had hoped to see some more diversity in how you complete the puzzles. The graphics are exceptionally good, although you can still feel the game being held back from its full potential since it's also released on last-gen consoles. I would have loved to see what this game could have looked like had it been a current-gen only game. The facial animations aren't anything exceptional. They're good, but not groundbreaking. The particle effects, on the other hand, are amazing. I'm a sucker for particle effects, and seeing small sparks flying out every time you use a basic attack is truly satisfying. This goes for multiple fire spells as well. I had no technical issues playing through the game except for some weird FPS drops if the game had been open on my console for an extended period of time. This was quickly resolved by simply restarting the game, a minor inconvenience. The only other issue I have with the game is that sometimes I feel like sound effects are missing from cutscenes or maybe just isn't powerful enough. Take this cutscene for example. It might just be me, but I feel like it's missing sounds from the falling rock, the spell being cast, etc. Again, it's just a minor inconvenience, but it does feel weird at times. Also, the dialogue coming from the main character can sometimes feel a little fake or off.
Ah! Ha! Oh!
Overall, I definitely recommend this game if you're a Harry Potter fan. I would also recommend it if you're a fan of fantasy in general. It ticks off all the boxes needed for a typical open world RPG. Nothing's missing. I actually feel like the game could appeal to anyone. Seeing as how it feels like the game is covering a lot of different genres, there's something for everybody. I still feel like the game is lacking in some areas as mentioned above. For this, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. If you haven't already, then pick up this game if you're into hack and slash, RPGs, Soulsborne, or just the Harry Potter universe in general. Otherwise, I would recommend waiting for a sale so you can pick it up at 30% off or more.